If a cat has chosen you as its favorite person, don't feel too special. It may not think you are the kindest person in the house. It may have simply decided that you are the least dangerous, and that is a very different kind of compliment. In the same home, one person feeds it. Another cleans the litter box. Someone buys toys, brushes its fur, and says its name in a voice so sweet they have almost completely surrendered their dignity. But when night comes, the cat walks past all of them. It ignores the person holding the food. It avoids the person begging for affection. Then, it climbs onto the lap of the one human who barely seems to notice it. We usually say, the cat likes him best, or cats always choose the person who never wanted them. But the cat is not trying to annoy the family. It is not powered by spite. It has been studying everyone in the house, not once, thousands of times. It remembers who moves too quickly, who stares, who picks it up when it wants to stay on the floor, who keeps petting after its tail begins to twitch, and who stops before the cat has to ask twice. You think you live with an animal that sleeps most of the day, but while it is awake, it is building a prediction of you. Who brings food? Who creates noise? Who respects distance? Who can be trusted? And who might turn a friendly touch into a trap? The cat's decision may have less to do with who loves it most than with one ancient question. Beside whom can I stop preparing to run? To understand that question, we need to remember what a cat is. Cats began living near early farming communities because stored grain attracted rodents. The rodents attracted small wildcats. The cats came for prey, not friendship. Those able to tolerate human voices, firelight, and movement gained an easy hunting ground. Over generations, living near us became less frightening. But cats never abandoned the nervous system that brought them there. Their ancestors were small predators, dangerous enough to kill, small enough to be killed. A cat therefore lived in two worlds at once. It was a hunter, and it could become prey. An animal like that cannot ask only, is there food here? It must also ask, can this thing hurt me? Your cat still asks that question, only now the enormous animal standing in front of it is you. Humans show affection by moving closer. We reach out, we hug, we lift. We look directly into the eyes of someone we care about. But in a cat's world, many of those gestures can carry another meaning. A hand descending from above can resemble a predator. A hard stare can resemble a threat. Arms closing around the body remove control and block escape routes. Following a cat after it has turned away sends a simple message: your decision does not matter. This is why the person who loves the cat most can lose. They are not cruel. They are too enthusiastic. They call it constantly. They pick it up whenever possible. They mistake a raised belly for an invitation. They believe more affection will make the cat feel more loved. But affection without an off switch can look a lot like coercion. When a cat is allowed to initiate contact and end it whenever it chooses, something important happens. The cat learns that its no works, and that creates the first vote. You approach too quickly. One vote against you. You stare while it searches for an exit. Another vote against you. You pick it up even though its body has gone rigid. Another vote against you. You sit down and allow it to decide whether to approach. One vote in your favor. You pet it for a few seconds, then stop. If it leans back into your hand, you continue. If it turns away, you withdraw. Another vote in your favor. No single vote decides everything, but the election happens every day, and eventually the cat sees a pattern. This is where the real answer becomes more interesting. The feline brain is not only searching for gentleness, it is searching for predictability. A person can be affectionate and still be difficult to trust. Today they let the cat sleep. Tomorrow they lift it for a photograph. One day, they laugh when it jumps onto the table. The next day, they shout at it. Their touch changes with their mood. To the human, these are ordinary emotional changes. To an animal monitoring danger, this is an unstable system. The quietest person in the house may do nothing remarkable. He wakes at the same time, walks down the hallway with the same rhythm, sits in the same chair, never lifts the cat while it is sleeping, never follows when it walks away. And when the cat steps onto his lap, he does not immediately grab it as though he has just won a prize. He becomes safe not because he does the most, but because he creates the fewest surprises. That may explain something food alone cannot. If food were everything, the person filling the bowl would always win. Yet many cats choose someone who rarely feeds them. Food can teach a cat to approach you, but approach is not the same as trust. Trust depends on what usually happens after the cat comes close. Does the hand remain gentle? Does the person notice when its body becomes tense? Can the cat leave without being followed? The cat is learning your sequence. Your footsteps may predict a quiet evening. Another person's footsteps may predict noise. One voice may appear before food. Another may appear before a trip to the veterinarian. The cat may recognize its name and its owner's voice. The response can be almost invisible. An ear turns. The head moves slightly. The pupils change. It heard you. It simply decided that recognition did not require obedience. Scent adds another layer. The chair smells familiar. The blanket smells familiar. The room smells familiar, and eventually you become familiar too. But scent is not a magical membership card. It works with everything else. You smell familiar. You appear at familiar times. You move in familiar ways. Your reactions are consistent. Together, those signals tell the cat, this person belongs to the stable part of the world. Even the cat's meow can become part of that system. Adult cats often use vocal signals with humans to produce specific results. One sound opens a door, another produces food, another makes one particular person stand up and follow. The cat tries a sound, you react, it repeats the sound. You react again. Soon, the two of you have built a private signal. You think you are training the cat, but the cat is also training you. And each successful signal makes you easier to predict. Predictability gives the cat a small amount of control. Control reduces vigilance. But is that love? The science is not perfectly clean. Cats do form selective relationships with people, but those relationships do not always look like the bond between a dog and its owner or a child and a parent. Perhaps the relationship does not fit neatly into either category. You may not be the cat's parent, but you are clearly more than a food dispenser. You are a familiar individual at the center of a safe territory, a recognizable voice, a reliable sequence of events, a warm body whose behavior can usually be predicted. And there is one final layer. The cat may not only be choosing you, it may be turning you into part of a place. A cat's world is built from roots, hiding spots, sleeping corners, observation points, and areas where nothing bad is expected to happen. If you are consistently present during quiet moments, if your scent remains on the chair and the blanket, if your voice appears before pleasant experiences, and if your movements rarely force the cat to flee, then the boundary between a safe person and a safe place begins to disappear. You do not merely live inside the cat's territory, you become part of its map of safety. That may be why a frightened cat searches for one particular person, why it sleeps on that person's clothes, why it waits outside their bedroom door, and why its behavior may change when that person disappears. The cat has not only lost a human, part of the stable world it knew has vanished. Now, return to the house with 4 people. The person who feeds the cat thinks it is ungrateful. The person buying the toys thinks it has strange taste. The person cleaning the litter box thinks the entire system is unfair. And the man who once said he never wanted a cat is sitting in the same familiar chair. He does not call it, he does not stare, he does not pat his lap, he does not reach out. The cat enters the room. It looks at the 3 people trying to attract its attention. Then it walks toward the only person asking for nothing, and climbs onto his lap. Not because cats love people who hate them, not because it wants to insult the family, and not because it forgot who filled the bowl. It is doing what its ancestors have done for thousands of years. Watching movement, remembering patterns, protecting escape routes, avoiding coercion, and finding the place where vigilance can fall to its lowest level. A cat does not always choose the person who does the most for it. It often chooses the person beside whom it does not need to defend itself. So the next time a cat crosses an entire room to lie beside one human, remember what you are seeing. Thousands of tiny votes. A hand that stopped. A stare that softened. A body that was allowed to leave. A night in which nothing bad happened. No single moment was large enough to become the decision, but all of them accumulated. And eventually, a small predator carrying millions of years of vigilance makes one of the rarest choices it can make. Not, this person owns me. Not even, this person loves me most. But simply, here, I can sleep. If the cat in your home has chosen one person, tell me who it is. And more importantly, What does that person do differently from everyone else?